what does yoga really mean to me? And what is yoga? And what do I feel is so special about Sama yoga? And of course, I could speak for a long time about that. But one of the main aspects about Sama yoga that to me is really fundamental in life and fundamental in yoga, that I feel is not always there in the yoga culture, so to say. It's the self-love and self-acceptance. And in Sama yoga, that's one of the main points that we bring down. Of course, we give a lot of attention in a yoga teacher training to physical asanas and how to do them correctly and so on. But underlying all of those things and integrated through the asana classes, as well as through all the other classes we give on the course, is this message that you're acceptable as you are, and not only acceptable, but you're lovable and you're worthy and you're beautiful and you're perfect the way you are. And how often do we get that message in society? How often does someone tell us how lovable we are and how perfect we are, and then including all of our as though limitations and shadow sides? Not very often. We get told how we need to change ourselves. And I think when we come to yoga, what often happens, what I've seen, is that people bring that attitude with them into the yoga. And then whatever different, what to call it, societal influence, or whatever different harsh internal attitudes that we have, those we bring with us into the yoga, and then the yoga becomes another way of beating up on ourselves because we're not good enough, we can't do this and that asana, or it becomes another way of competing, or it becomes another way of showing ourselves whatever attitude or view we have of ourselves that's maybe not totally supportive, showing that to ourselves again, because that's the pattern we have internally. Yoga is actually about non-competition. Competition is himsa, it's violence in some way. I never thought of that, but then one day I was with our teacher Swamiji, who's also teaching on the course, and he's very much embodying the values of yoga, and he's studied these things for, I think it's over 40, it must be 45 years now or something, you know, complete dedication. He's been doing 5 3.5-year full-time courses with his teacher. He's amazing. Anyway, and then it was something I had found. Oh, that's right, we were on the beach. It was during the teacher training in Bali. I'd found a shell thing that was like this big. And I said, look, here's one of these shells that make it's a certain type of shell. I don't remember it now. And he said, no, they don't go that big. And I was like, I bet you it's one of those. You know, I wanted to, how do you say, kind of compete. Like, I'm sure it's one of those. Let's find out. And I bet it is. And he's like, no, I'm not going to compete about anything. I'm not competing. And I've seen it in so many ways. Also, if there's one piece of chocolate left of the dessert and he's just about to take it, and then one time I remember I also at the same time came to take it, and then and then he immediately, I'm not going to compete on that piece of chocolate, it's yours, or a certain position. That's maybe harder if it's a certain position in life that we really want. But if we deeply assimilate ahimsa, we maybe don't compete about that. Anyway, now I'm getting off the track. I'm staying on the track of the Sama yoga and the teacher training. I'm not used to having such short classes. Same with Sky, you know, we want to be able to. With teaching, it's more about what not to say and choosing the words deliberately. rather than saying, it's easy to say a lot of things, but what are the real things that matter right now? So I was talking about what I feel is so special about Sama Yoga, and I was talking about non-competition and how I feel, or I've seen in myself as well, that we can bring our same ways of being in life that has not been supporting us and serving us, bring that into the yoga. And then we just continue. Internally, we stay the same. We don't transform and we don't grow. We just become a little more fit and a little more flexible. And what I feel is the most important is what happens on the inside. Like I often give this example, I feel it's such an important one, is, how does my body look in the asanas, in the physical postures? That's one thing. But how is my internal posture? That is so much more important. Because if I am able to do really advanced asanas, but inside I'm beating up on myself and I don't feel worthy and I don't feel lovable, and I'm not able to relax in myself, as myself, and I feel that I need to change things about myself to become okay and lovable, then I would say that's a problem. Do we want to live life not feeling acceptable and lovable? No, we don't, because that's painful, right? And what we find through yoga and through Vedanta, which is like the philosophical sort of platform that we stand on in Sama Yoga, what we find is that you are absolutely lovable as you are. And we find, how is that true? And then that becomes my truth, that becomes your truth. And then you can live life from the heart. That's yoga. And the yoga is so vast. I mean, it encompasses the whole life. And in the Sama Yoga teacher training, we want to bring all of the aspects of yoga into the training. That's why we cannot do a 200-hour teacher training, because even with 270 hours, we feel it's too short. I don't know how people do it. Some people have 200-hour teacher training, and some of that time is self-study. We have 270 teacher-led hours, and we still feel it's too short. But I feel we can give a really good foundation and training on those hours, and we would like to give even more hours, but this is what's practical right now. So what we find through the yoga and through bringing all of the aspects of yoga as a lifestyle into the training is that we can integrate the fact of our own acceptability and worthiness and lovability. And we often say that as a Sama Yoga teacher, this is one of the things that we have in common, because when you're a Sama Yoga teacher and you've been through the training, you're very free to express your teaching in whatever way that suits you. We don't have like a standard set of, here is how you teach, and these asanas you teach, and this sequence and all. That's not really Sama Yoga. In fact, when we've assimilated the Sama Yoga deeply, then we usually teach completely intuitively. We let sort of life, Saraswati, the principle of communication and knowledge, we call it the goddess of knowledge, we let her channel the class, and that's when the students are pulling out the class out of the teacher. And then you never know in advance what's going to come, because you don't know what people are going to need in that specific moment. And then the class gets pulled out, and what gets pulled out of you is going to be your unique expression. And I think that's so beautiful. As a Sama Yoga teacher, you get to be you. And that's the only thing we want from you, is that you are you, honest with yourself, naked and honest to the extent that you dare, so to say, right? it's about meeting myself, and then I am myself. And I've seen that often when people study to be a yoga teacher, they put on a lot of pressure on themselves to be kind of mature and refined to a certain extent. And I would say we want to do the opposite. As a teacher, it's even more important that I am myself and that I am honest about my limitations, because every human being have limitations, right? And if I'm not honest about them, then this is not going to feel real, right? As a teacher, I really want to say, this is me. I have a whole set of blind spots and limitations, and I'm working on them. And here is how I work on them. And that's inspiring, right? So what goes in and through all of the Sama Yoga teachers is that we try to the best of our ability to be honest and real, and to allow our students to be exactly as they are, and to give this message that you are perfect the way you are. And out of that self-love and acceptance, we can do a lot of things with our body in order to gain more health, or maybe get a more peaceful mind, or this and that. But the main underlying message is that you're good enough. And many people come to the teacher training actually not to teach. They just want to deepen their own yoga and their own practice, and also gain more lifestyle tools. And that's also totally fine, you know, because whatever is your calling in life, that's what you're called to do. And maybe it's not to teach yoga, but you still want to have yoga deeply in your life. And this training is also suitable for that. And many people also come who are already yoga teachers, and then they learn to teach in a deeper way from the heart, and to teach intuitively, and also to have this background, this tradition that we have in Sama Yoga, to have that in your back, you know, to be part of that tradition. It's something very, very, very strengthening about being part of a tradition, because it's not about me. I don't have to come up with something smart and brilliant and then teach that, right? In fact, it's the opposite. I lean back on the tradition of this knowledge, and I let that flow through, and none of it comes from me. The only thing that comes from me as a teacher is how I have assimilated the tradition of yoga and the tradition of Vedanta, and how I overcame challenges in my life, and how I learned to meet myself with love and acceptance. So that's a little bit about Sama Yoga, and how it's about being yourself. And I can feel it when I say that, how it's about being yourself. I feel it in my belly, because it's like a comfortable relaxation comes. That's how it feels for me. It feels comfortable in the belly. Then I can be myself, and it's okay to be me, you know. And since we cannot count on the outside world accepting us or giving us love and giving us validation, then in this training we learn to give that to ourselves, because then we're independent. Other people can say and do whatever they do, but at least I have an inner friend, and that inner friend is always supporting me. And I give love and support and validation to myself, even when things go wrong. And it's such an important thing to learn, to have an inner friend, right? And then the other thing that's very important aspect of this training that I feel is also unique is that we really develop trust in life, and we look into your own relationship with life itself. How is your relationship with life itself? We don't usually think about that because we're very focused outwards. My relationship with other people, my relationship with things and situations and my work. But if I take away all of that, if I take away all of the roles I play, and I have only that one role of being kind of a life's child in a way, then how is my relationship with life? That's something to look into, and we want that to be a very held relationship where there is trust. That's so important. With trust, we can relax. With trust, we can find comfort in life. And with trust, we can also shine and enjoy. Because life is for living. Life is for living. Yeah, and living freely, because you are free. And Vedanta, when it boils down to the essence of what Vedanta, our tradition that we stand on, what that tradition has as the main end goal, it is to know that you are free, moksha. And when you know that you are free, you feel free. And then you can live with such an open heart and embrace whatever comes to you in life. And that's just so beautiful. I think it's like, how can we be without that, right? Why is that not taught in school? Why do you have to join a special yoga teacher training to know that you're free? It's like the most essential knowledge. And the yoga lifestyle that Samma Yoga teaches is designed not by us, but this is what is given in the Yoga Shastra and all the yogic texts and Upanishads and all of that, is designed to help us see that. It's designed to, first of all, bring a relative peace and harmony in our life so that we feel peace in relation to ourselves and harmony, and peace and harmony also in relation to other people, no matter what they're doing, how they're behaving, what they're saying, can I still feel the peace and harmony inside? It doesn't mean I just act peacefully and harmoniously. I may step up and be, put borders and say no and all of that, but inside there is a certain equanimity. So first, the yoga is designed to give that to us on a relative level, and included in that is also physical health that comes through the yoga asanas and the whole understanding of Ayurveda, which Sky teaches on the course, and also the understanding the energetic system and the prana and all of those things. And then to take that one step further and find kind of like an absolute peace and harmony by knowing that the essence of who you are is peace itself, is love itself, is the source of what you seek in life, is already you. So that's the end goal of Vedanta, if one is interested in Vedanta. Yeah, and it takes time to integrate these things into life, and it takes time to assimilate, and that is why we feel strongly about giving the course over 9 months or many months, because then we meet and we get a full potion of tools and skills and input during the first step, and then we go home, we meet everyday life, we meet the challenges, we meet ourselves with the yoga and the support of us and the group behind us, and we fall off our goals and we get back on the train, and we fall off and get back on, and each time we learn something. We come back for step 2, we get again loaded up, learn new things, then go back home, meet life as it is. And that's, I think, not only I think, but I've seen this because I've had both 9-month trainings, and I've been teaching like 4 or 5 week intensive courses also. And those are also great, but we miss that factor of integrating over time and coming home and meeting our life while still having the group support and the teacher support and knowing that we're going to come back. So it gives so much to have the course over many months, and we can also then have home assignments. We can work on our different asana programs and get to know the postures in our body. And we can, what we also do is we have assignments where you practice teaching to first to one other person, someone you know, maybe a friend or a partner or someone, and you teach to that one person. That feels safe enough. You can make all mistakes you want when it's just one person that you know, right? And then we extend the teaching practice to maybe 2 people, maybe 2 people on the course, and then more and more until the last step. If you want to do the final teaching, and then you teach to the whole group, including us teachers. And it's very rewarding. Most people are quite nervous, and then afterwards they feel so empowered, really. Yeah, so that's a little bit about Sama Yoga. It's a very, very special journey, and it's many of our students say it's life transformative. Yeah, I see some nodding faces there. And they don't want to be without it. Yeah, it's beautiful.